Today, I am going to discuss on acoustic emission technique, history, fundamentals, and application. I am happy to take a session on this topic, and I am very happy to address the faculty members who are assembled for the FDP program organized by PES College of Engineering. Because I have spent almost a decade in PES College of Engineering, and I am having a good relationship with PES College of Engineering. That's why when Dr. Guru Pawan requested, immediately I agreed to take a session. So first is I would like to give the introduction to acoustic emission. Acoustic emission, in the short form, it is referred as AE. AE refers to the generation of transient elastic waves, which it is produced by the sudden distribution of stress in a material. That is, whenever a structure is subjected to external stimulation, it can be change of pressure, change of load, or change of temperature, there will be localized sources trigger the release of energy. And this release will be in the form of stress waves, which propagate to the surface, and in the technique of AE technique, it will be recorded by the sensors. When you are going to use a right equipment and the setup, motions of the order of picometers, that is, can be detected using this technique. AE systems can only qualitatively gauge how much damage is contained in the structure. In order to obtain quantitative results about size, depth, overall acceptability, other NDT technique are necessary. So it will give only qualitative, it will not give any quantitative. If you want quantitative, you should use normal NDT techniques like ultrasonic testing and etc. Another drawback of the AE stems from loud service environment. That is, when we are going to have a AE, the background noise is going to contribute to the signals. So hence, you should use it in an environment which it is not having a loud service. Now, to know more in detail, I am giving a definition of acoustic emission phenomena. Acoustic emission is a phenomenon of sound and ultrasound wave radiation in materials which undergo deformation and the fracture process. It is seen in everyday's life phenomena, like breaking of the glass. It will be creating the sound. That is going to be the one. Falling of the tree. When it is about to break, you will be having a cracking ice, or some examples of fracture sound we may hear from different objects subjected to stress. Sources generating AE in different materials are going to be unique. It may not be same in all the types of the materials. So for example, it will be different in metals and plastics. Metals, primary macroscopic sources are crack jumps, whereas in plastic deformation, development of fracturing and debonding of the inclusions. Because plastic materials, it will be having inclusions, particularly reinforced plastic materials. Then quantity and qualitative characteristics of acoustic emission waves generated by source of different nature depends directly on the two areas. One is material properties and the other one is environmental factors. So this is the example how you are going to measure the AE waves using the sensor. Whenever there is a crack, this crack can be create a stress waves which can be absorbed by this AE sensors when the force is applied on that material. History of the AE is a very well known even in the olden age. So in the olden age, even falling of the tree, it was being the phenomena of AE. Even the animals, when there is a calamities or any unnatural things happens, animals can hear that waves which it is going to be created. It is another example of a AE alarm system. Probably the first practical use of AE was being used by pottery makers. Even you can see the potters, when they are going to check the quality, they will knock it and check whether there is any noise which it is going to be coming. That is, potters are known to listen for audible sounds during the cooling of their ceramics, which it is going to indicate there is a structural failure. And when you are going to have a pure tin in 3700 BC, it will be referred as tin cry, that is audible emissions produced by mechanical twinning of pure tin during the plastic deformation. So the first document observation was in AE was made in Middle Ages by Arabian in the 8th century. He has described it as harsh sound or cross noise or sounding much. This is the history of first AE experiments. 1920, the noise generated by deformation of process of salt and zinc crystals were observed. 1936, small voltage and resistance variations caused by sudden strain movements, creating the Martensitic transformations were observed. 1948, it is the stress waves which it is being observed. 1950, twinning experiments were used on single crystal wires of cadmium. 1950 was the era in which tensile tests were used to determine the characteristics of AE in the engineering materials. 54, it was the AE application in the material engineering and source of AE. 57, AE is used as a testing to study the problems of behavior of engineering materials. 61 was the year where aerospace used AE to find out the integrity of Polaris rocket motor for the US Navy. 63, it was used for high pressure waves, high pressure vessels. 1965, it is used for detecting the loss of coolant in a nuclear reactor. 69, it is the first company specialized in production of AE equipment. So today, AE is being used almost in all the industries around the world for different types of structures and materials to identify their failures, or it is used for condition monitoring of these various equipments. Now, theory of acoustic emission. If you want to know more about the theory of acoustic emission is going to be created as a result from initial growth of cracks or slips or dislocation movements, twinning or phase transformation in the materials. AEs originate when a stress is exerted on a material and a strain is induced in the material. Depending upon the magnitude of the stress and the properties of the material, an object may return to its original dimension or be permanently deformed after the stress is removed. These two conditions, as we are knowing, it is elastic and plastic deformation. The most detectable acoustic emission takes place when the material which it is loaded undergoes plastic deformation or material is loaded at or near its field stress. So on the microscopic level, as plastic deformation occurs, the atomic planes slip past each other through the movement of the dislocations. This is going to release the energy in the form of elastic waves, which can be thought of as naturally generated ultrasound traveling through the object. When the crack exists in a metal, the stress levels in front of the crack tip can be several times higher than the surrounding area, and this is the one which it is going to be sensed by the AE sensors. Therefore, AE activity will also be observed when the material is ahead of the crack tip, undergoes the plastic deformation. There are two sources of fatigue cracks which causes AEs. The first source is emissive particles, that is non-metallic inclusions, at the origin of the crack tip. Since these particles are less ductile than the surrounding material, they tend to break more easily when the metal is strained, resulting in AE signal. So for example, when you are going to use a composite materials or any such things, there will be a inclusions which it is going to be having a different material, or it is going to be less ductile, or it is going to be brittle than the surroundings. So when it touches that, it will be creating a AE signal. The second source is the propagation of the crack tip that occurs through the movement of the dislocation and small scale cleavage produced by triaxial stress. So when you are going to have a crack, when the tip is going to, when the crack tip is going to pass through this process of breakage, there will be a triaxial stress which it is going to be created, and that is the one which it is going to give these AE signals. The amount of energy released by the acoustic emission, the amplitude of the waveform are related to the magnitude and velocity of the source event. So it can be a pressure wave due to the pressure vessels, or it can be due to the any motor movements or any turning movements or any such things. Based on that magnitude and velocity, the amount of energy released and amplitude of the waveform will be varied. The amplitude of the emission is proportional to the velocity of the propagation. So if the velocity of propagation is more, amplitude will be larger. The amount of surface area created. So as the surface area is more, naturally the amplitude of the emission will be more. Large discrete crack jumps will produce a larger AE signals than the cracks that propagate slowly over the same distance. So the major purpose of the AE testing is to detection and conversion of these elastic waves to electric signals. That is, during this acoustic emissions, the AE sensors, which it is similar to that of a transducers, it is going to convert the electric waves, elastic waves into electric signals. Analysis of these signals will be yielding the valuable information regarding the origin and importance of a discontinuity in a material. So the property of that material, or there will be a problem of failure, any such things can be obtained by these signals which it is obtained from these AE sensors. When we are using this AE emissions, that is the acoustic emission instruments, it is necessary to detect the wave energy and decipher which signals are meaningful. That is, it has to decide which signals are going to be meaningful. Typical AE equipment or AE operators will be having totally 4 different components. First one is the sensors, which is used to detect the AE event. Second one is pre-amplifiers, that is going to amplify the initial signal. Typically, the amplification will be in the range of 40 dB or 60 dB. This is going to be important. Based on the application, there will be a selector switch provided on the preamplifier. We have to select either 40 decibels or 60 decibels. The cables transfer the signals on distance up to 200 meters to AE devices. Cables are typically a coaxial type. Then fourth one, what we have is a data acquisition system. The data acquisition system performs the filtration, signals parameters evaluation, data analysis and charting. Whatever various parameters are being obtained, it is going to be converted into digital values, and these values are going to be stored in the Excel format in the storage system. So hence, practically the 4 components required is sensors, which grabs the signals, preamplifier, which amplifies the signals, and the cables are the one which it is going to transmit along, and then there will be signal conditioners, which it is going to condition this in the data acquisition system, and that is going to be having a parameters which it is going to be done in the charting. This is the typical schematic of a AE instrumentation. Various sensors, typically 1 to n numbers. It can be 1 or 2, or even in the pressure vessels, there will be plenty of sensors. These sensors will be having a preamplifiers with the filters, and then there will be a main amplifier with the filters. So this, it is going to give the signals to the measurement circuitry. The measurement circuitry, it is going to have a phenomenon to be fed to the computer. In the computer, there will be acquisition software, AE acquisition software with a hardware, and then there is a data storage and data presentation. First is the AE sensors. The AE sensors are the one which detects the stress wave motion, which is creating a local dynamic material displacement and converts this displacement into electric signal. So any stress wave movement which it is going to be sensed by this, it will be converted to electric signal with the help of AE sensors. Generally, they are typically piezoelectric sensors with the elements made of special ceramic elements like lead zirconate titanate, that is PZT. Mechanical strain of piezo element generates an electric signals. So the sensors may have internally installed preamplifier. That's what we have quoted in the previous diagram. Preamplifier with the filters, main amplifier with the filters. So preamplifier with the filters, it is going to be the one, and the main amplifiers, it will be the second one, which it is going to make it into the required selection of 40 dB or 60 dB. That I will be showing it in the other sketch later on. Typical frequency range of the sensor ranges between 30 kilohertz to 1 megahertz. Selection of a specific sensor depends upon the application and type of flash to be detected or revealed. Transducers are selected based on operating frequency, sensitivity, environmental characteristics, and are grouped into two classes, resonant type and broadband type. The majority of AI equipment is responsive to movement in its typical operating frequency range, 30 kilohertz to 41 megahertz. For materials with high attenuation, that is for plastic composites, lower frequencies may be used to get a better or a distinguished AI signals. The opposite holds true. That means the materials with low attention requires higher frequencies. So based on which the AI sensors will be selected. Two qualitative types of sensors, resonant and wideband sensors. Thickness of piezoelectric element defines the resonance frequency of sensor. Diameter defines the area which it is going to cover, and depending upon that, average surface motion. The next one is Curie point. That is the temperature under which the piezoelectric element loses permanently its piezoelectric properties. That is certain piezoelectric elements will be losing the Curie point earlier. So you cannot use it in that environment. So you should know what is the operating temperature. Normally Curie temperature varies for different ceramics from 120 to 400 degrees centigrade. So based on the environment, you have to select the proper ceramics. There will be a coupled material used in between the sensor and the component. So that is referred to the couplant material, which it will be a glue or oil, or even in some of the cases, so for example, in our applications, we used white petroleum jelly, that is Vaseline. So glue, it will be used for the piping. Magnets, it will be used in the pressure vessels. Grease and oil will be used, and in some of the cases, or even you will be using this white petroleum jelly. Bands used for the mechanical attachment. That is, when we are going to attach it in our applications, we have used it for the acoustic emission for predicting the tool wear. So for the tool, we have fixed this AI sensor with the couplant as the white petroleum jelly, and then it is fixed with a adhesive tape. With the adhesive tape, which is a mechanical attachment for the long-term applications. So waveguides are used in high temperature applications, which is welded or mechanically attached. In some of the cases, rolling sensors are used for inspection of rotating structures. Special lead blankets used to protect sensors in nuclear industry. So these are the various sensors and the applications. Type of installation and choice of couplant material is defined by a specific application. Glue, super glue is used in piping. Magnet, it is used to hold the sensor in metal pressure vessels. Grease and oil will be used as a couplant. Bands are used for the mechanical attachment for a long term. Waveguides are used for the mechanical attachment when it is having something like a welding or mechanical attachment. Special PB blankets are used to protect sensors in the nuclear reactors and all. You will be using this special PB blankets. Then rolling sensors, they are used in the case of inspection of the rotating structures. This is a typical AE data acquisition system. As I quoted, there is a preamplifier. This is the preamplifier, which it is provided along with the sensor with the preamplifier. That is AE sensor with the preamplifier, and this is the amplifier, which it is going to have 40 dB or 60 dB selection will be done with this amplifier, and then it will be having a hardware which it is going to convert this. It is having a hardware which it is loaded with the software to get these signals, catch these signals. That it will be a board, a board which it is going to be mounted with a hardware lock into the system, and from there you will be having a output which will be given in the form of Excel. So this is a typical example of a data acquisition. There will be analog to digital converter. This specification may vary. This is a typical one, 16-bit, 10 megahertz, and the maximum signal amplitude will be 100 dB. For this, it can be varied depending upon the application. There will be high-pass filters. It depends upon the application, 10 kilowatts to 200 kilowatts, which it is under software control. 4 low-pass filters, high-pass and the low-pass filters. Then there will be signal processor, and there will be data signal processing, which it is of 1 MB, and waveform buffer. Now the principles of AE data measurement and analysis, threshold, and hit definition time. There will be threshold and HDT, which it is going to be parameters used for the detection of AE signals. HDT enables the system to determine the end of the hit. That is, the end of the hit is going to be from the beginning to the end of the hit. It is going to refer as the HDT. So close out of the measuring process, and it is going to store the measured attribute as the signals. So there will be hit 1 or hit 2, and based on the distance, it will be referred as long HDT and short HDT. AE signals will be defined as burst signals and continuous AE signals. Burst AE is a qualitative description of the discrete signals related to the individual emission events occurring within the material. So, for example, in the application of a metal cutting, when the material is being removed, you will be having a continuous AE signals. So when you are going to have a chip which it is going to break, at that time what you are going to get is a burst signal. Continuous AE or burst AE, this first one is the burst, the second one is the continuous. In the first one, the signals are going to be having very high amplitude at the beginning, and it is going to flat out. Whereas here it is going to be continuously fluctuating between the minimum and the maximum throughout. That is referred to the continuous AE. It defines the quality of the flaw what you are going to verify. There are different AE parameters which it will be measured. Peak amplitude. Whatever you are going to get the maximum across the y-axis, it is referred as the peak amplitude. Energy. Energy is the integral of the voltage signal, rectified voltage signal per duration. Duration is the time from first threshold crossing to the end of the last threshold. So the first threshold to the last threshold, what you are going to get, it is referred as the duration. Counts the total number that exceeds the threshold. So this is the threshold. From the threshold, what is the total number which it is going to hit? That is referred as the counts. So for example, for this, 8 is the number of counts. Average frequency, it is the average frequency in kilohertz. Morse is the measure of the area under the envelope of the rectified linear voltage time signal from the transducer. Okay, this is the signal which it is going to come. The total area, what it is being there in that, it is referred as the Morse. Rise time. The time for the first threshold crossing the maximum amplitude. So this is the maximum amplitude. This time is referred as the rise time. From the beginning of the threshold to the peak, that is referred as the rise time. Count rate is nothing but the total number of counts per unit time. So this, it is going to be in terms of number. Counts will be in the terms of number. This, it will be number per second or number per minute. So this is the one what it is given the description of what are the AE parameters, what we have discussed in the previous slide. Now coming to the AE testing process. The AE testing process, first a acoustic emission wave will be released from a source. Through the couplant, it will be given to the AE sensor. The AE sensor, it is going to have the pre-amplification of the signals. And pre-amplification, it is going to be filtered with the help of a frequency band, which it is nothing but the amplifier. It can be of 40 dB or 60 dB. From there, it will be having analog to digital converter. This AD converter, it is being provided in the board which it is provided in the system. Feature extraction, transient recorder, it is going to take place. And there will be a data buffering which is going to take place in the system by making use of the memory of the system. From there, it will be given to the CPU. And the acquisition software, it will be providing all this information to the CPU. From there, you can use the analysis software to get the data, and you can have the data which it is stored. From the data stored, you can get it and you can have a data presentation. So this, it is the total AE testing process, which is being explained with the help of a flow chart. Just a minute. One minute. So, in the entire AE testing process, AE sensor is being mounted on the required component, from where the AE instrument is going to give the input to the AE monitoring system. There will be a control cabinet where you are going to control this movement of this component. So for example, this is the AI testing process on the UTM, connected to UTM. And it is the board which it is going to be there inside this computer. And this is the one which it is going to carry out all the analog to digital converting, signal processing, etc. And this, it is the differential or the amplifier, which it is going to have a gain select, which it will be in the range of 20, 40, and 60. Normally 40 and 60 is the one which it is having. It will be having an input and output. From the input, it will be coming, and from there, it will be processing and doing the amplification in the required level, and it will be given to the output. There are different background noise which significantly affects the result of AI testing and need to be considered and controlled. Types of noise. The different types of noise are hydraulic noise, mechanical noise, cyclic noise, and electromagnetic noise. Hydraulic noise, it will be due to the cavitations, turbulent flows, boiling of fluids, leakage of fluids. Mechanical noise will be due to the movement of the components, that is the mechanical parts, in contact with the structure, or fretting of the pressure vessel against their supports caused by elastic expansion under pressure. Cyclic noise, it is a repetitive noise created from reciprocating or rotating machinery. Then electromagnetic noise, which it is provided, it is being produced in the components which it is having electromagnetic, like motors or such components. It is essential to control the background noise, to have a good AI signal useful for the purpose. Controlling of the noise sources. One is rise time discriminator. There is a significant difference between a difference rise time of mechanical noise and acoustic emissions. So it will be controlling that, and it will be providing the exact one. Frequency discriminator. The frequency of mechanical noise is usually lower than acoustic emission burst, so it will be controlled. Floating threshold or smart threshold varies with time as function of noise output. It is used to distinguish between background noise and acoustic emission events under conditions of high varying background noise. When the wave propagation takes place across the structure, there are different phenomena taking place. One is attenuation. Attenuation is the one what you can see here. It is decreasing the AI amplitude or a stress wave propagation along a structure due to the energy loss mechanisms from dispersion, diffraction, or scattering. Next is dispersion, a phenomena caused by the frequency dependence of speed for the waves. Sound waves are composed of different frequencies, hence speed of the wave different for different frequency spectrums. Then diffraction, the spreading or bending of waves passing through an aperture around the edge of a barrier will be referred as the diffraction. Scattering, the dispersion, deflection of the waves encountering whenever you are going to have something like defects in the casting, that is the holes, such things, it will be creating this scattering, sharp edges, crack inclusions. So these things will be giving scattering. attenuation test has to be performed on the actual structures when we are conducting the inspection. This attenuation curves allows to estimate the amplitude and energy signals at the given time from the sensor. Then the next important parameter is how to locate these sensors in the components. There are three different methods: linear location technique, point location technique, zonal location technique. Linear location is AE sensors are located at a distance in the linear structures such as pipes, welding, etc. You can put it in two sensors at two different points. So the time difference method commonly used to locate the AE source on a linear structure such as pipes. It is based on the arrival time difference between the two sensors or known velocity. Sound velocity evaluated by generating signals at known distances. That is, if you are going to consider d is the distance, d is the diameter, small d is the diameter, capital D is the distance between the sensors, v is the wave velocity. So d is equal to half d minus delta t into v. So that is the one what you are going to get the exact measurement of AE in the case of a linear location. Effective velocity depends upon the material. For the brass, for the steel and the aluminum, the different values are being quoted. Point location. For location of a source on a plane, two sensors are used, and the source is situated on a hyperbola. Three sensors are used to locate the source point to a point by intersecting two hyperbola using the same technique as two sensors. So you can use either a two sensor approach or a three sensor approach by using point location by using hyperbola technique. Zone location. Zone location is based on the principle that the sensor with the highest amplitude or energy output will be closer to the source. Just 1 minute. Hello. So zonal location aims to trace the waves to a specific zone or region around the sensor. When we are, zones can be length, area, or volume depending upon the dimension of the array. You can have a single sensor, or even you can have a multiple sensor depending upon the zone which you are going to sense. The AE accuracy, it depends on the several factors. AE is going to increase with the high strength, high strain rate, low temperature, anisotropy, heterogeneity, thick sections, brittle failure, material containing discontinuities, material phase transformation, crack propagation, cast materials, large grain size, and mechanically induced winning. So in these conditions, AE is going to increase. AE will decrease when you are having a low strength materials, low strain rate, high temperature, isotropy materials, homogeneity, thin sections, ductile failure, material without continuous, diffusion control phase transformation, plastic deformation, wrought materials, small grain size, thermally induced winning. So you can see the AE's increase or decrease, it is going to be depending upon the materials which it is having opposite properties. Sources of AE. Major macroscopic sources of AE in metals are crack jumps, plastic deformation development, fracturing and debonding of hard inclusions, microscopic sources that includes dislocation, moment, interaction, annihilation, slip formation, voids, nucleation, growth and interaction, and many more. More than 80% of energy expended on fracture in common. Industrial metals goes to development of plastic deformation. Acoustic emission is a very versatile technique used in many industries. So now we are going to discuss on the applications. So it is used to gather the information about a material or a structure which it is liable to failure. Acoustic emission testing can be applied to inspect and monitor pipeline, pressure vessels, storage tanks, bridge, aircrafts, and bucket trucks, and a variety of composite and ceramic components. So it is used as a condition monitoring technique. It is also used in process control applications such as monitoring, welding of process. I think in PS College of Engineering, Dr. Rudresh Adamani has carried out his work on this welding process. Okay. A few examples of AIT applications are follows: inspection of pressure vessels, weld monitoring, bucket truck integrity evaluation, gas trailer tubes, bridges, aerospace structures. So these are the various applications in the power industry, oil, gas and chemical industry, nuclear industry, civil structures, aerospace, and in the military defense applications. This is the sketch which it is indicating the AE inspection of the pressure vessels. This gives the example of a flaw detection in a storage tank. You can see the number of sensors located across the storage tank. There will be different material research and fracture mechanics which is being used to find out, use this AE technique. In the failure mechanism, it is crack interaction problems, fatigue, thermal shock, creep, stress corrosion cracking, hydrogen embrittlement, caustic corrosion. These are the various applications in the failure mechanics. Materials. To have the investigation of AE in mechanical and metallurgical properties, even tribological properties of steel and alloy, different weld joints, concrete and composite materials. Then flaw assessment, numerical calculation of the stress intensity factors, J integral values, etc. Remaining lifetime evaluation. Then computational fracture mechanics, development of numerical methods for crack assessment, static and dynamic problems of multiple crack interaction, then quasi-static and dynamic crack propagation analysis. There are various standards used across the worldwide for this. How to conduct the acoustic emission tests are being defined in these standards. One is ASME, American Society for Mechanical Engineers, ASTM, ASNT, Association of American Railroads, Compressed Gas Association, European Committee for Standardization, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, International Organization for Standardization, Japanese Institution for Standardization, Japanese Society for NDT, that is non-defective inspection. So these are the various standards under each of that, under ASME, under ASTM, what are the various standards with the standard code which it is used for the various applications. So that is being defined in this. If you want, you can go through this for the standards which it is defined by the worldwide. This is the ASNT standards and the Association of Application Railroads, Compressed Gas Association, European Committee for Standardization, Institution of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. This is the International Organization for Standardization, that is ISO, Japanese Institute for Standardization, that is JIS, and Japanese Society for NDI, that is NDIS. So to conclude, the acoustic emission technique has been widely used as research tool in industrial engineering field in order to assess the damage evolution of the materials and structures, extending its application in the structural health monitoring of the structure, SHM. SHM is the structural health monitoring, which is nothing but condition-based monitoring technique, mainly used in civil, aeronautical, industrial and its applications. In recent years, this activity has been oriented in an increasingly targeted way toward the corrosion issue monitoring systems and components, representing a critical factor in ensuring the structural industrial integrity. Earlier, corrosion was not being detected by the EAE. Nowadays, it is being applied for the corrosion detection or the corrosion monitoring systems also. EAE can be used in conjunction with other NDT techniques to assess the structural integrity. So, as we have quoted earlier, EAE is used for finding any faults or defects with qualitative only. Quantitative, if you require, you have to use NDT techniques. So with the combination, you can find out the structural integrity. Advances in deterministic and statistical analysis methods now enable data to be interpreted in greater detail and with more confidence than before. That is, whatever information which you are going to get, we can correlate to the failure, and you can carry out the statistical analysis, say statistical analysis of a tool wear, or a statistical analysis of a welding quality. So like that, it can be carried out by using a tools, additional software tools or the analysis tools, such as MRA, that is multiple regression analysis, can be used for that. You can use GMDH, group method data handling. You can use any such techniques which it is used for finding out the problem, or you can have the diagnostic of these problems in advance. So the AE is used as an additional diagnostic technique for the study of instance or a failure, because it gives up unique dynamic information on defect growth. You can also predict when the failure is going to occur. So it can be, along with the certain tools, you can use it for prediction. You can use this information for statistical analysis as well as prediction of failures. So with that, this AE can be used in the industry for the condition monitoring, for extending the life of the components, and also to have a quality working of the components. So that's all what I wanted to convey for all of you. I'm open for any questions on the discussions what we have carried out so far. I would like to thank PS College of Engineering as well as Dr. Gurupavan, who has invited me for delivering